Hello, dear viewers. Namaskar. Welcome to Moksha Media. You are with Moksha Hiremat. Some of you have heard the name of Chandogya Upanishad. It is one of the important Upanishads. This Chandogya Upanishad belonged to the period of Samaveda. Samaveda ultimately contains the topic of sound, language, music, and songs and instruments, etc. etc. Chanda means Chandasu, prosody. It is of poetic meter. It says something about how the song is composed, what type of meter should be followed, how it should be composed, and what are the words and sounds to be used while composing those things. So, Ga means here composing, that is, composing of meters of poetry, composing of sounds, composing of shaping of language, music, and instruments, etc. etc. So ultimately, it tells something about the language and its sound and its music. In olden days, we don't have any means of recording the human speech. In those days, only means of recording the speech is to memorize it. In order to memorize it, we have to compose the words which are very easy to remember, which are very easy to recite, which are very easy to pass it on and on from mouth to mouth, from generation to generation. So, in this section, that Chandogya Upanishad works a lot. And of course, in the Chandogya Upanishad, it is not only the sound and language and meter, but it is of different things also. Especially in the field of sound, it tells us something about the sound Om. Of course, now we talk of Om in so many different ways, on so many occasions. But we can have the sound of this Om in the Chandogya Upanishad. And the Chandogya Upanishad also has said something about Tat Tvam Asi. It is called a Mahavakya. Tat Tvam Asi is a philosophical understanding of the nature and space, and it means you are that. That means we have earth, space, water, fire, sky, etc. etc. All these elements are there in other elements also. The essence is same, the form is different. We can see the water in plant, plant in water. We can see man on earth, earth in man. We can see man in space, space in man. Of course, space is the essence. That water, earth is the essence. Water is the essence. Plant is the essence. Man is the essence. But we have different forms of these things. So man is the part and parcel of the space. Plant is the part and parcel of the earth. Earth is the plant and parcel, part and parcel of the water. The form of the water is different. The form of the earth is different. The form of the plant and space different. The form of the man is different. But the essence in all those things is one and same. It is made up of earth, water, plant, space, fire, sky, etc., etc. So, man is the part and parcel of those things. That is what Tva Tatvam Asi. Tat Tatvam Asi. That is the meaning of that word. But of course, it has been elaborated as time goes on and on, etc., etc. But we can see this Mahavakya in Chandogya Upanishad itself. So, in those days, it tries to realize the world in its own way, in the form of a sound, in the form of a language, in the form of a music, in the form of song, etc., etc. So, while revealing these truths, that ultimately Sat is important. Of course, what is that truth? What is that chitta? What is that meditation? What is that time that it has to be revealed in that Chandogya Upanishad? But Chandogya Upanishad reveals these things through the stories. We have different stories in Chandogya Upanishad. Chandogya Upanishad consists 8 chapters. Of course, this Chandogya Upanishad is taken from Chandogya Brahmana, which contains 10 chapters. But the first 2 chapters are belong to that Chandogya Brahmana, and then next 8 chapters are belong to Chandogya Upanishad. So Chandogya Upanishad is the Vedanta. It is the end of Vedas. It is the summary of Vedas, etc., etc. That is what it is told. Of course, we can see ancient wisdom in these Upanishads. That ancient wisdom has been continued even today. Even different philosophers, whether east or west, north or south, concentrate, meditate, analyze, and come to conclusion regarding these philosophy and etc., regarding these things, and then they have continued that thing in one way or another way, in their own way, scientifically and beyond science also. What is known becomes science, what is not known becomes nonsense. Of course, we can simply say it. But man tries to know things scientifically. At the same time, he goes beyond the science also in order to have the happiness, in order to have the contentment. Of course, in order to have that happiness, so many persons take shelter in these Upanishads. And out of 8 chapters, these 8 chapters are grouped into 3. First and second chapter is one group. Third, fourth and fifth chapter is another group. Sixth, seventh and eighth chapter is other group. Through these groups, the composers of Chandogya Upanishad try their best to reveal their understanding and realization of the space and earth. They reveal through the different stories. Here we have the story of Rajatakriti and Raikwa. Gautama and Satyakama Javala, Uddalaka and Shvetaketu, Sanat Kumar and Narada. And of course, other stories may be there, but these are the main stories we come across in Chandogya Upanishad. So, these stories reveal their understanding of man's nature differently. For example, Rajatakriti and Raikwa, we come to know that property is not important, prosperity is not important, but knowledge is very important. Even man is poor in terms of material, but rich in terms of knowledge, automatically he gets respect from others. So that is what Rajakriti says, Rajakriti and Raikwa story tells us. Raikwa is knowledgeable but poor. Rajakriti is rich and Raja, but doesn't get that much of respect. So there we come to know that knowledge, the understanding of human nature, realization of human nature, and giving and taking respect to man and to others becomes very important, but not the rule, but not the imposition, but not the attack, not the suppression, oppression, and exploitation. So, that knowledge is beyond all this. That knowledge carries us towards a beautiful world, towards a world without difference, towards a world with equality, fraternity, and liberty, of course. Without liberty, you cannot do anything, Especially the liberty of questioning is very important. If liberty of questioning is suppressed, the knowledge is suppressed. The man's personality is suppressed. That is why so many fights, so many struggles have been taken place regarding the liberty of questioning. So that is what we can see in the story of Rajatakriti and Raikwa. We can see the story of honesty through the characters of Gautama and Satyakama Javala. Once Satyakama Javala goes to Rishi Gautama, he entreats Gautama to accept him as his student. Then Gautama asks Satyakama Javala of his parentage. Satyakama Javala says he doesn't know his parentage. His mother doesn't have any parentage. Gautam becomes happy and he thinks that Satyakama Javala is a real Brahmin because he is honest. He doesn't hide his parentology. So he says the truth. Saying the truth itself becomes a Brahman. So he accepts Satyakama Javala, even his mother doesn't know who was his father. So there the man becomes very important, but not the parentology. So Satyakama Javala is accepted, and of course he becomes a great one as a Rishi, then he has another disciples, etc., etc. There the word, the honesty becomes very important. And then we have the story of Uddalaka Aruni and Shvetaketu, in which it is told that Tat Tvam Asi is very important. That what is there on the Sat is very important. Of course, we have different things. It may be earth, fire, sky, space, water, salt, etc. etc. Suppose if you put salter in a glass of water, salter is dissolved. But you cannot see the same salt in that water. But when you drink the water, you feel the taste of that salt, whether on the bottom of the glass of the water, on the bottom of the water of the glass, or middle of the glass, or bottom of the glass. Is it top of the glass, middle of the glass, or and bottom of the glass? Everywhere you taste the salt. The form of the salt is not there. It has taken the different form. You cannot see the same salt, but you can feel the taste of that salt in water. So that salt is there in the form of the water. Water is there in the form of the salt also. So you are the salt in the water and you are the water in the salt. That is the thing. So you are the part and parcel of everything. Shvetaketu learnt so many knowledges, but those knowledges doesn't say this, but his father convinced him regarding this knowledge. So that is why Tat Tvam Asi, you are the part of the nature, is very important. That is what we have to know. And then, in case of that Sanat Kumar and Narada, Narada has every knowledge. He has the knowledge of material, philosophical, and etc. etc. But it doesn't have the knowledge of other things. That is the what is real, what is the truth, what is the Sat, what is the Chit, how to know, how to get memory, how to get happiness, how to get peace. If you utter peace 100 times, you can't get the peace, It may be one of the ways to get the peace. Psychologically, it affects to a little extent. But in order to have that peace, we have to work. We have to meditate. We have to try to control the chitta, that is the mind. Is it? Mind is there in the body. Body is there in the, breath. Of course, it goes on and on like this. That what is important, whether the mind is important, the eye is important, the tongue is important, skin is important, etc. etc. Of course, every element says it is important. But they have forgotten the breath. If breath goes, everything goes out. How to maintain that breath? How to purify that breath? That chitta shuddhi is very important. That is the purification of the mind is very important. Purification of the heart is very important. If your heart is not purified one, if your mind is not purified one, you cannot get the peace. Peace of mind is very important. So that Narada doesn't know it, Sanat Kumar tries to reveal that in this story, that is Sanat Kumar and Narada. That is the spirituality of the Atma, spirituality of Brahma. Brahma means Brahmanda, that is the space. Of course, it doesn't mean the name of a caste. But later on, different developments have been taken place in the society. That is different. But in the beginning, it does not refer to any caste. It does not refer to any creed. It refers to noble human qualities. Is it? So that noble human qualities are very important. These noble human qualities and the realization of them have been realized, have been revealed in the Chandogya Upanishad. Whether it is in the form of the sound Om, in the noble quality of right and wrong, that is the conscience, the noble quality of honesty, the noble quality of the nature, you are part and parcel of the nature, the noble quality of spirituality, that is knowing the life when we are alive, knowing the life after the death also. So it may be karma, it may be jnana, it may be life after death, that is Marujanma, liberation from that Marujanma, liberation from the cycle of birth and death, etc. etc. So, Chandogya Upanishad tries to reveal all these things in its own way. It has used the method of stories, and through those stories, it tries to simplify the realization and understanding of the space, and even common people can understand, even common people can realize the philosophical matter which is there in Chandogya Upanishad. So, by the sound, by the language, by the song, because sometimes the songs simplify the emotions, they simplify the thoughts. When emotions and thoughts are simplified, man understands them very easily, and by that he tries to ennoble his life. So that is what we can see in Chandogya Upanishad. So Chandogya Upanishad, in the chronological order, comes in the second place. Of course, Chandogya Upanishad may have been composed before Buddhist era. That is, it may have been composed in the circa of 600 to 800 before Common Era. See? But of course, there is no single opinion regarding its composition. It is simply an assumption. It might have been composed in that period. But anyhow, it is sure that this Chandogya Upanishad is composed before the Buddhist era. It has influenced on Buddhism and etc. etc. Of course, later onwards, these Upanishads also influenced Abrahamic religions which enter into India and becomes the part and parcel of Indian culture. Of course, that acceptance is the part and parcel of Indian culture, Whatever comes is accepted, is received. Whatever is received, it makes its own. Whatever it makes its own, it becomes part and parcel of the society. So that is the strength of Indian culture, that is the strength of the Indian society. That is what we have to know, that is what Chandogya Upanishad tries to say in one way or another way. So that is why we can see the influence of Chandogya Upanishad in all sorts of philosophers who try to make the lives of the people a noble one. Whether it is this religion or that religion, that is not that much of important here, but it is making the man's life noble is very important. That is what Chandogya Upanishad, that is what Upanishads try their best in making the life of a man a beautiful one, the life of a society a proper one. There lies the importance of that Chandogya Upanishad. So here I try my best to bring the truth home by using simple language. That's what I think, that's what I feel. But you are the decider. So dear viewers, subscribe and share, and see you in the next episode. Namaskar.